We put in place a degree of transparency and openness, the level of openness, transparency that this government has brought forward, to expect a greater level of openness and transparency. We decided, as we often do on this side of the House, to raise the bar on transparency and openness and demonstrate the kind of openness and transparency that Canadians voted for when they elected this government.
They say if you repeat a lie often enough, even you begin to believe it. So I have to wonder if Justin Trudeau and his Liberals really believe they are actually being the most transparent government, or simply buying their own rhetoric. What is so frustrating is, despite years of promises to be different, all those election pledges from Justin Trudeau that Canadian politics needs to be done differently, we simply get more of the same. And in some cases, we even regress to far less transparency than we've had in years gone past. But that has not stopped us from filing access to information requests, because it is these requests that allow us to show you how secretive and how opaque the Liberals are actually being, while they proclaim to be the most transparent government ever. So, on July 17th, we filed an access to information request asking, quote, provide copies of all expenses, including supporting documents such as receipts, submitted by or for Gerald Butts, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, since November 4, 2015. Unquote. And the response? Quote, it's been determined that the information you requested may not be disclosed. The information has been withheld pursuant to Section 19(1), Personal Information of the ATIA. Unquote. Gerald Butts is not only Justin Trudeau's principal secretary and right-hand man, but also his lifelong best friend. So it does appear that despite Justin Trudeau's pledge of transparency, his best friend is actually getting special privileges to avoid making his expenses public. This is quite the contrast from the Butts we saw as a harsh critic of Stephen Harper and the Conservatives, not only during media appearances, but also on social media, particularly Twitter. Leading up to the election, the real change election, I'll remind you, Butts assured us that once Justin Trudeau was made Prime Minister, things would change. Things would become more transparent. The public would be entitled to information that the secretive Stephen Harper government and his PMO hid from Canadians. Take a look at this tweet from June 2013. Quote, Justin Trudeau on transparency and accountability, consistently raising the bar. Unquote. And then Butts links to a puff piece from HuffPo on Justin. Or how about him accusing the previous Harper Prime Minister's office a few weeks before the 2015 election? Quote, the transparency plan announced in June. The root cause of this problem is too much power in the PMO. Too little in Parliament, unquote. Or even earlier in 2015 when he hit us with this dandy, quote, how much does senior staff in PMO make, unquote. What a great question, Jerry. How much do they make? How much do you make? How much are you expensing to the taxpayer? How much more have you tried to slip past the goal after your rather embarrassing moving expense claim back in 2015 was exposed by the Rebel? And you've got to love his claim that there is too much power in the PMO, given the PMO he now works in is obstructing our access to information requests for his expenses. It's pretty unbelievable, and it's downright disrespectful to the tax-paying public, so we will be appealing this obstruction to the Information Commissioner. You know, if you compare this to previous PMOs, for instance, you'll see that there were stories in the media after they had their expenses made public. And you realize that this is now a clear change in policy compared to previous Prime Minister's offices. But what is the most puzzling is, and it does seem rather elitist of Gerald Butts, is that other Liberal staff, and high-level staff at that, are in fact declaring their expenses and making them public. Take the recently hired new Chief of Staff for Catherine McKenna, Marlo Reynolds. Well, they had to report their expenses, and same with Scott Bryson's office, his Director of Issues Management, Dale Palmater. Again, their expenses are being submitted and being made public. So I gotta ask, what is Butts hiding? Well, I suspect it must be pretty embarrassing for the Prime Minister's office, or likely even Butts himself, to have to go out of their way to obstruct a fairly routine access to information request like this, especially given this is clearly not a consistent policy throughout all levels of government. There does appear to be a two-tier system or double standard for Gerald Butts, the Prime Minister's best friend. Look, I've reached out to Gerald Butts and I've left a voicemail with the Prime Minister's office to see if I could get answers why exactly his expenses are being withheld, unlike other senior staffers. So of course I will update you should he respond, and as our appeal with the Information Commissioner plays out. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Thanks for watching. Did you know we've got a brand new lineup of shows coming out on the Rebel.media this fall? If you want to check them out, go to the Rebel.media/shows. I'm particularly excited for my friend Sheila Gunn Reid's new show, The Gun Show. Check it out, the Rebel.media/shows. We'd love to have you on board.